October is the month of Halloween, and I thought I'd play a Scooby Doo game, but not just any Scooby Doo game. I'm talking about Scooby Doo Mystery Mayhem. Hey everyone, Cat Goblin and Martin here, and today I'll be taking a look at all the enemies in Scooby Doo Mystery Mayhem. Yeah, it's also been a while since I reviewed a Scooby Doo game. Mystery Mayhem is a game that I never played as a kid, but I heard it's pretty good. The gameplay is very similar to any of the Luigi's Mansion games. I've only played Dark Moon though. But you know, the concept of Luigi's Mansion or Ghostbusters fits Scooby Doo so well. The game really reminds me of Scooby Doo and the Witch's Ghost and the 13 Ghosts of Scooby Doo, where the gang gotta use a book or chest to suck up all the ghosts. So if Scooby vacuums Ghost on TV, then he can surely have his own video game centered around the idea. I have this game on the Xbox, but my Xbox broke, so I got the PS2 version instead. And with all that being said, let's dive straight into the review. Before we talk about the enemies, let's go over a few of the key facts about them. In Mystery Mayhem, to defeat a ghost, you simply open up the book and a ghostly hand will reach out to grab them, and then you mash whatever button the game wants you to mash. Depending on the health of the enemy, you might have to do 2 or 3 button mashes in total to fully suck them up. And yeah, you can see that they have a health bar. Obviously, you lose health if they attack you, and the monsters are extremely terrified of the Tome of Doom, as when you pull it out, they will immediately book it. Get it? Book it? Because... okay, anyways. All enemies pretty much patrol in an area. When you get close, they'll spot you and will try to attack. They also have very good hearing as they can hear you run, but you can just sneak past them. For the enemies that are clearly, well, alive, you can't just suck them up in a book, so you'll have to avoid them entirely. All enemies can be fooled by disguises. They appear as red dots on your radar on the top right, and also with the different types of ghosts and monsters you encounter, you can't defeat them with the book until you find the missing page which allows you to do so. So the first and main enemies that you fight throughout the majority of the game are the ghosts, and there are 3 types. First is the small green one, which only requires 1 button mash to defeat and doesn't do a whole lot of damage. Second is the medium-sized ghost, who bears a resemblance to the green ghost / Phantom Shadow. He is green but emits a blue glow. Only 2 button mashes for him, and he can take away 1/4 of your health. The last type is the big green one with the long face. It takes 3 button mashes to defeat this one, and he can take away half of your health, which makes them the strongest. All 3 ghosts function the same. When you're close, they'll try to swoop in on you. When you're sucking them up, they will also try to attack you as a last resort, but you can just move out of the way or mash faster. I found that they are pretty persistent when they chase you, and in these large rooms with a bunch of walls or clutter, they can float through them. Luckily, they don't know how to float downstairs. They appear in The Haunting of Hambridge, Mayhem at the Movies, Weird Wild West, and Bad Juju in the Bayou. The green ghost does appear in Weird Wild West, but functions differently. More on him later.
I caught alive! Or dead one. One last ghost, roaming free. Whoa! Crazy ghost! Like that was close! Like, whoa! Scooby-Doo! Yikes! Scooby-Doo!
This one isn't really an enemy, but rather a barrier that blocks your path. In The Haunting of Hambridge, Mayhem at the Movies, Weird Wild West, and High Tech Terror, there is this ghostly barrier that blocks the door. If you go up to the barrier, a ghostly hand will come out and shake its pointer finger at you, basically telling you, "Nuh-uh, you can't pass until you get rid of all the enemies in the room," and it also damages you a bit. Once you take out the enemies, the barrier disappears. You see these more often in Hambridge and Sherman Tech HQ.
Whoa!
The shadow ghosts only appear in The Haunting of Hambridge. They're ghosts that are, well, a shadow that clings to the wall. They really remind me of the shadow monsters in Martin Mystery. If you look closely, the ghost is actually invisible, so you just see its shadow in the wall, but then when you grab it, you can see it appear. Also, there is this part where the shadow is also invisible, so you can't see its shadow in the wall. It doesn't do too much damage when you bump into it, or if it grabs you. When you suck them up, they will attempt to grab you, so stay clear. It only takes 2 button mashes to suck them up. Also wanted to mention is that if you go to the episode file and pause menu and go over to the monster section, it will show all the ghosts and monsters that are located in the level. If the picture is in black and white, then that means you still need to find the missing page for your book, and other enemies that are clearly not monsters are not on this page. Mayhem at the Movie stars the Poltergeist and Mummy. Let's start with the Poltergeist. This ghost is invisible, although you can clearly still see it due to it always shimmering. It's just like in the elevator section of Metal Gear Solid where you get ambushed by 4 genome soldiers wearing the stealth camouflage coats, and you can see a shimmer of their movements. Anyways, the Poltergeists are quite mischievous. They'll sneak around you, pick up an object, and throw it at you. Smaller objects such as a gold bar or helmet do little damage, but when they start chucking chairs, tables, or weapons at you, then you lose half of your health. It takes 2 button mashes to defeat them, and while sucking them up, they will try to grab another object to throw at you. The ones that patrol on the platforms above the pirate ship set float and will slide the stage lights towards you, which do little damage. You also encounter these ghosts in Weird Wild West.
Gotcha, man! All right, man! That's a feisty one! Whoa! Poltergeist!
The mummies appear later on in the studio where you encounter them around the Roman, pirate, and Egyptian set. While idle, they sleep. When you're close, they'll slowly walk towards you. As they get even closer, they'll start to run, and one hit from them can take away half of your health. On top of that, the mummy can stomp the ground, creating a shockwave which does little damage. He does this when you keep on avoiding him or when you try to suck him up. By the end of the level, you notice that the mummies come out of these sarcophaguses. The sarcophagus is their safe haven when you attack, so you'll have to quickly reel them in or lure them farther away, and it only takes 2 button mashes to defeat this one. The mummy also appears in Weird Wild West, but functions a little differently, which I'll get to soon.
Come here, Pharaoh! Did you see that, pal? Like, no need to get all wrapped up about this. You're not going anywhere, bandage face. Like that was close.
While we are in episode 2, I might as well mention this little surprise you get when walking through the graveyard set. When you walk near this little pool of water, you get jump scared by a movie prop. It gives Shaggy and Scooby such a heart attack that they take a lot of damage. Well, the swamp monster prop and those tree branches take away 1/4 of your health. The zombie that comes out of the dirt and this vampire do a sliver of damage. The space set does have these 2 alien props that can also damage you a bit. Moving on to the Weird Wild West, we have ourselves a Dust Devil, an evil tornado with red eyes that will relentlessly chase you. If you get caught, it will throw you up in the air, which takes away a quarter of your health. They're not that menacing, as 2 button mashes will do the trick, although the very last Dust Devil in the boss fight requires 3 button mashes to defeat. And while you're wrestling them up, they can move towards you, so move out of the way and you'll be fine. When you investigate the top floor of the hotel, you'll encounter the mysterious woman, who's actually Mindy in disguise. She'll hide inside a room. Every time you find her, she'll run to another door, and at the same time the 3 main ghosts plus the mummy come out the other doors, and go to a different one. If you open the wrong door, you'll get jump scared and take damage.
Right? Help! Right! Right, let's get out of here!
The minecart section. Probably the most annoying part in the level, but after playing it a few times, I think it's kind of a nice change of pace, because so far in the game, there isn't really much of a challenge, and the minecart section does provide some sort of challenge, which makes it interesting. What makes it stand out even more is that those mummies from the previous episode are now riding in minecarts. They will try to throw rocks at you, as well as on the track to mess you up, and they can even get in your way, forcing you to jump over them. If you're paying attention, then these guys won't be a problem, but I have to say, this mummy minecart section really reminds me of the mummy minecart chase in the Scooby Doo level in LEGO Dimensions. Yeah, remember LEGO Dimensions? It was like the top game of 2015. I'm guessing that this is an Easter egg to Mystery Mayhem, even though it doesn't take place in a Western mine. I'm also gonna guess that the Funland robot doing the arm wave dance is a reference to the Funland robot mocking you in Knife Hunter Frights, and most of the soundtrack is from the Spooky Swamp game. Bad Juju in the Bayou has 1 new monster and 2 non-monster enemies. The 2 enemies that you encounter a lot are the Alligators and Jeremy Rhodes' Mercenaries. The Alligators swim around the water and they'll chase you and bite, which does quite a bit of damage. Since you can't attack while swimming, you have to dive underwater and wait for them to pass. They can be annoying at times when they hog the jetty that you need to get to. The alligators can also hide underwater and pop out to surprise you when you swim around these logs, and in the dirt bike part, the alligators become obstacles that you have to avoid.
Scooby Doo!
The Mercenaries, who are equipped with these stun guns that do very little damage, appear throughout the Bayou searching for zombies and trespassers. They wear different colored uniforms. Out in the water, they use airboats. One man pilots the boat while the other shoots. They use a searchlight to see you, and if you get spotted, he will fire. Dodging them here isn't too tricky. On land, the Mercenaries will chase you. You can make them shoot each other, which gets them stunned for a bit. Also, if you get detected by this military truck, then 2 mercenaries will spawn in and attack you.
Help!
The perimeter has been breached. The perimeter has been breached.
Right. Right.
Gotcha. Man.
Right.
Gotcha.
Right.
Dang.
In Night of 100 Frights, the zombie was just a hologram, but in Mystery Mayhem, it's the real deal, and you get to fight zombies in Bad Juju in the Bayou and High-Tech Terror. There are 3 zombie variations, all of which function the same. We have 2 farmer zombies, one has a farm hat on and uses the other arm as a weapon, while the second farmer limps, and then the third zombie is the farmer's wife who hits you with a rolling pin. They don't do a lot of damage, it takes 2 button mashes to defeat them, and as a last resort, they'll breathe out toxic breath to try to stop you from capturing them.
Back into the book, zombie. I got a zombie. All right, man. Back into the book, zombie. Like dead man running. No need of all the pieces over there.
Our final few enemies are found in Episode 5, High-Tech Terror, and for the first portion of the level, you basically play it like it's Metal Gear Solid, where you gotta avoid security guards and cameras. Man, that's the 3rd time in a row I made a Metal Gear Solid reference in a video. Anyways, you encounter the security guards, and they patrol around the hallways on the ground floor of Sherman Tech. If you get spotted by them, they will scold and kick you out. It's basically like in Hitman, where if you're found in a restricted area, a guard will just kick you out. But here's the thing, to get past them, all you need to do is just go over to that costume box and grab yourself a disguise to fool the guards, just like in Hitman. They can also hear you run, which makes them walk towards your last position, and I was able to slip past this guy. Also, there's security cameras that can spot you and they will call the guards, so you'll have to avoid those or you can turn them off here.
Intrusion alert.
Please follow me.
Intrusion alert.
Stay out of restricted areas, please.
Will do. Right, Scoob? Well.
Anyone there?
I found a clue. Agents, better show it to Velma.
Hello there.
Like hello. I mean, hello to you. Like I feel smarter already. Yeah, me too.
Have a nice day.
You too.
Anything I can help with, sir?
Everything's groovy. I mean, fine.
As you venture further into the laboratory, the security gets tighter, as you now have to avoid the scientists in the hazmat suits. Like the Mercenaries, they carry a stun blaster but do more damage. To get them out of the way, you can lure them to another room and trap them behind the force field or use disguises to slip past them. In the spooky science minigame, you actually get to give these guys a taste of their own medicine, as you can now shoot them with their own gun which stuns them.
I think I heard something.
That robot you get to remotely control is pretty cool. Get caught by a camera though, and this thing is out to get you. The robot is very persistent. It will only stop chasing you until you make it to a safe area. It has 2 attacks. It can hit you with its arms, which do little damage, and it can pinch you, which does so much damage to the point where you'll almost lose all your health. If you don't want to deal with this thing, just stay clear of the cameras.
Intrusion alert. Repeat. Intrusion alert. 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 Intrusion alert. Repeat.
When you reach Mr. Sherman and Selena, they use the mind-altering alpha wave modulator to try to mind control Scooby and Shaggy. Fortunately, they're immune. Unfortunately, Fred, Daphne, and Velma are not immune, and they have been ordered to attack you by using those big stun guns. They do the same damage as the Scientist. To break them free, you gotta run all over the area and push all the buttons to make them glow red while they're hunting you down. Thankfully, they're pretty slow, so you'll stop the mind control machine in no time.
Scare Scooby.
All right.
Must scare Shaggy.
Thanks.
She must.
Like that's one. All right. All right.
The last enemy in the game is the Fire Phantom Shadow. It's the blue Phantom Shadow, but he's on fire, and you fight them near the end after when Selena summons them in. And also the final boss can summon these guys in too. For attacks, this ghost can throw purple fireballs at you, which can take away half your health. Now because they are on fire, you can't just suck them up, so you're gonna have to wait for them to fly into those fire sprinklers so that they can be extinguished, and then you can suck them up. At this point, they're basically the same ordinary Phantom Shadow, only gray. If you don't get rid of them sooner, they will go back to being on fire.
Like I've got one. Like that ghost is toast.
Well, there you have it everyone, those were all the enemies in Scooby Doo Mystery Mayhem. The one thing I like about this game is that as you go through different levels, you'll encounter new monsters and other enemies that are slightly more difficult than the previous ones that you have faced. Also, I think it's pretty neat that in order to defeat a specific monster, you have to find their page for your Tome of Doom. So whenever you encounter a new enemy, you basically gotta run for your life, but when you find that missing page, you're pretty much unstoppable. I do have the Cyber Chase on PlayStation 1, and I recently got Unmasked for my GameCube, so I'll probably review those two at some point. Plus, there's also the 5 bosses in Mystery Mayhem as well. And I have also added chapters in this review. Chapters make it easier to navigate through the video in case you missed a part or want to go back to a specific segment. And I added chapters to most of my older videos too, so all the Scooby Doo Night Runner Frights reviews that I've done have chapters in them. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed today's review. Make sure to like and subscribe because it really helps me out, and I will see you all in the next one.